Edmonton heads out east looking for their 4th straight win, and to tighten up the West even further, they head to Montreal, who get 2 stars back in their lineup, while Edmonton must win without 2 stars of their own. It's the final test before the all-important Labor Day Battle of Alberta. Elks, Als. It's Sunday Night Football in the Canadian Football League. But first, this is the Green and Gold Kickoff Show. Iwanyk and Jay Milne with you live at Centric Casino Sports Bar and Lounge, where every day is game day as Jay is paying off a tab. We can hear that very slightly on the microphones. We're live on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, as well as those watching on YouTube. For Centric Casino, place to be for the games. We got the wall of TVs behind us. We're going to get the sound of the game after. Jason and Andrea from, well, they also are always at tailgates. They are here, so come on down. The game day special, cheese and jalapeno smoker for $14 or $14.99, and the daily special, surf and turf for $11.99, as well as the 6 o'clocker lager. It is on special during the game. Let's get right into this game as the Edmonton Elks head out to Montreal to take on the Alouettes. Kickoff just after 5 o'clock. You can watch the game on TSN. I believe Paul Lapalisse and Marshall Ferguson on the call, which I would then assume Kenzie Lalonde will be on the sideline. McLeod Bethel-Thompson is the starting quarterback for the Edmonton Elks. The men protecting him from left until right: Ivy Foucault, Cordy Richards, and Boyko. Kevin Brown, the starting running back. We will get to that momentarily. The receiving core: Lewis, Gittins Jr., Mitchell, Jones, and Mayala. Defensively on the D-line: Taylor, Curtis, Oakman, and Brown. The linebacking core: Morgan in between Anderson and O'Neill. While in the secondary: Gray, Bratton, Moncrief, Jackson, and Bynum. Beatty is the kicker. Julian punts. The injury report, Mr. Milne.
Well, Trey Ford is still out. We know that he's bouncing around on the 1-game injured list. O-lineman Grahovic is out. Javon Leake is out. Luchez Purifoy is out. Both of those are on the 1 game, but both of those are big pieces to this Double E team, which we will get to right away. But Kevin Brown is back in. Jacob Sott is getting his first start, I guess, or address of the year on offensive line. And J.J. Ross is making his CFL/pro football debut at cornerback, as they've had to shuffle things around with Jake Taylor also being out of the lineup. So a little bit of a different look today heading into this game in Montreal. But well, we'll get to it. I'll leave it as a teaser. I
was waiting for the next part of that.
Well, it all comes down to one thing, in my opinion. But just to fill everybody in, yes, our server, Sophie, is leaving at 4. She's worked along. She worked till close last night, and then she was here for open today. Yes. She is incoherent. She's having a hard time putting things together.
She's ready for bed.
She's ready for bed, but she's a mother of 3.
So she's not ready for bed just yet.
This is going to be hard. It's going to be a long night for Sophie, but that was who is coming to settle up my tab, which was 1 6 o'clocker lager at full price, I might add.
I was losing my marbles a little bit, but I've already into 2 races. Yep. Lost my first race. I bet on 2 horses to place. They finished 3rd and 4th respectively. I then went on 3 horses to place. I finished 1-2. At Woodbine.
Maddie's going to have a nice ticket here. This one's good.
I'm intrigued by what this one is going to be. So and I'm going to have to wait till after.
And a Sandy update. Sandy, our man here, that's the incumbent gambler here at Century Sports Bar and Lounge. Thank you very much.
There's your.
Oh, here you go.
Yeah, she's going to just walk away without the tip there.
Man, come on. I'm the glue guy. I tip well.
Sandy?
Sandy, he's got my $20 in lock. We gave it to him early last week. We gave it to him at the end of the game, just before the post-game
show. Yeah, and he went on this 5-game exactor box trifecta, pick 'em all type game.
So we're letting this $20 marinate. He's already doubled it.
Has he?
He took it on one. Yeah, he took it on the opening race, doubled it. So we're off to a decent start, and he's pacing. He's pacing.
Good vibes for the Elks from
Positive
Blue
vibes.
Guy and myself when it comes to the horse betting here at Century Casino. Looking at the Owls, the players to watch, Cody Fajardo, the starting quarterback, he returns to the lineup after being out with injury. The other big thing is Austin Mack coming from the NFL. He went down to the Atlanta Falcons this offseason. He's back with the Owls. It's going to be his first game. They've got a nice receiving core as well with Rambo and Spiker. Fletcher is their running back. No Tyson Philpott. He's still out with injury. Darnell Sankey leads that defense in the linebacking core. We will get to Fajardo and Mack a little bit later on in the show as well. But they are the best team in the Canadian Football League. It is going to be a tough test for the Edmonton Elks today. That is for sure. Weather to watch, 25 degrees out there according to Environment Canada. They are under a severe thunderstorm watch. I don't know if that's changed at all in the last little bit. So potential chance of a storm. As well with that, they also say 40% chance of showers. Well, downgraded, severe thunderstorm watch. Warning's gone, we're down to the watch.
Good.
So maybe no precipitation, and definitely, hopefully, maybe not.
Precipitation?
Precipitation. To come on the Green and Gold Kickoff Show, we will get to our 3 stories. Keys to an Elks victory, cool bet props of the game. We'll hear from Jerry Jackson, interim head coach of the Edmonton Elks. But let's get to our question of the day, which I've thrown up on Twitter. Your thoughts welcome on this. Paris Jewelers inbox 780-218-9999. Or you can jump into the nasty chat as well. I've given 4 options on Twitter. Feel free to give
options.
Feel free to give me your what's
I never look at it beforehand, so
there's
is
4
news
options.
To me. 4 options.
If you have a different one, feel free to let us know. The Elks, they've won 3 straight. Feel like they've started to turn this thing around, maybe this season around. What has been the biggest reason for the Elks turnaround? The biggest reason. Now, look, it's not just one thing. I know that. But if we had to rank them, what's the top one? What's the biggest?
Yeah.
Here's what I've got. The emergence of the run game. Defense making critical plays. Trey Ford sparking this team. Or they got that first win, and it just got them going. What has been the biggest reason for the Elks turnaround? Emergence of the run game, D making critical plays, Ford sparking the team getting their first win, or fill in the blank other. 780-218-9999 Paris Jewelers inbox, or jump into the nasty chat. Jay, your thoughts?
Well, I don't even know what the poll results are, but anybody that's been listening to the Green and Gold Kickoff Show or post-game show would know that I've been begging for this team to run the damn ball. So I'm going to go with option 1 of the emergence of the run game for the Double E, because I just feel now they are averaging, for the last 3 games, they've averaged the last 2 games, they've averaged over 20 yards or 20 carries per game. Now there's been the breakout game by Javon Leake, and then Justin Rankin came through. Now we have Kevin Brown back in the fold because Javon Leake's out. Can they keep that running? My answer is yes. Yes, they can keep it running if they game plan for it. If they run the ball. 3 weeks, yeah,
of
sure.
Running over 20 with their running backs.
Yeah.
It's been 3.
And look, what's happening in those last 3 weeks?
They won
3 games in a row. So if they commit to the run, if they game plan for running the ball, then yeah. And I mean, to me, that's a very clear answer then as to what has been the catalyst to turn this team around, has been committing to the run game. I don't even know what the poll results are as of right now.
As of right now, 330 votes, 49.1% Ford sparking this team.
Yeah.
27.6 the emergence of the run game. 14.8 the team getting the first win. 8.5 D making critical plays. There is one comment that's a little. Well, we've got 2 different comments in the on Twitter, I should say. I don't want to name names, but rhymes with Chris Jones. Another one, possibly even a new owner. I don't know if that would have as much to do with it. Yes, Ford had a hand in this, but without the newfound run game this year, our offense will be one-dimensional and easy to shut down. That comes from Tracy Ham and Eggs. And then Ross saying Brown hasn't played, the biggest reason. So just not a Kevin Brown fan, it seems like, there.
And there you go. I mean, yes, I agree. Trey Ford was a spark to this team, and that was the catalyst at that point. But what has spawned them and spurned them to a 3-game winning streak? Well, Trey Ford didn't play last game, so he had nothing to do with that. That was a lot to do. I would say it's more to do right now with where they're at than Trey Ford. But yes, there's no question that Trey Ford did spark them initially, and not just the offense. I mean, he sparked that whole team. Obviously, there was a shift in the locker room, And there was a coaching change, sure. I mean, there's a lot of things, but I can't help but focus on the run game that they've now committed to, that they seem to commit to, because it's working and you have the horses, so let them run.
These are all intertwined to me.
Sure.
But the answer to the biggest reason, I do go to the Trey Ford part. And the
But
reason I start
you're
with
the president of the fan club.
Absolutely. But here's where I go with that, because the run game has been so crucial. It has worked well, and it's worked without Trey Ford in the lineup. It's worked without, in the last game and a half, they were able to still get their success with the run game. But why weren't they running the football before Trey Ford? And this is where I come in, because the defense has also been huge. The defense has made plays. They've allowed some yards, but they've really locked in, and they don't give up the points as much. And I do think getting that win has been a huge part to this team. But this all leads from Trey Ford starting, because with him coming in, it's either the coaching staff committed to the run because Trey Ford came in, or because Trey Ford was there, the defenses had to respect Trey Ford, so it opened up the run, so they started having success with the run, which led to the coaching staff going, oh, maybe we should run this football more. And if it wasn't Trey Ford coming in, I don't know if we would have gotten to this point. They might have put the running backs out there, but the coaching staff having this commitment to giving the ball to the running backs 20-plus times, I think comes from the fact that Trey Ford actually came into the lineup. And then with that, he led them to their first win, which I think, like what we're seeing right now, is there's some talent here. Chris Jones didn't build the worst team. Well, they were a team that has talent and can go win football games. They just weren't winning football games. And we said it early on, maybe this team just needs that one win to get going. Well, they got that one win, and it's now turned to 3. And then because the run game has been working, and especially the run game, more than the passing game, because it takes time to move down the field when you run the football, except for the Johan League major runs that have happened every so often. It keeps the defense off the field to rest. And that's 100%. How they've been able to emerge, is that they're more rested coming onto the football field. But if I have to go to what led to all of this, I think it's because Trey Ford came into the lineup, and either that opened things up for this staff to realize maybe we should run the ball more, or defenses have respected, and then the emergence of Rankin just all of a sudden out of nowhere. So we've got 2 backs all of a sudden. So that's where I go with Trey Ford on that one.
But you're failing to recognize that the 0-7 Edmonton team was not a terrible 0-7 team. This was a team.
They were for 4 of those.
That was they were for 3 of those.
I was trying to remember which one.
They could have won 4 of those games. This was not a bad team, and it is not a bad team, and we're seeing that. Yes, it took a little bit of time to get to this point, but this is where tonight's game is the real test. This is where you're going up the beast of the East. And I actually think that if they can stick to the game plan, and I'll just say it, if Macbeth plays mediocre, if Macbeth doesn't lose them the game, I think they have a shot at winning the game. And relying heavily on that run game, and we'll know early how that's going to look.
You're going to hate me for what I have to say right away here. I just know you.
Well, not much would have changed then.
This is one of those games where it's like a perfect scenario for the Edmonton Elks. And you're going to say, the players don't think this way. I know that. But this is a statement game. You go get this victory. That's a huge statement you're sending to the rest of the Canadian Football League.
Yeah.
We've won 4 straight. We're team to...
Yeah, we're here. We're here. Yep.
But they also don't have the pressure to go win this football game in the sense of it's not do or die. They absolutely need this win. They can afford, there's going to be losses the rest of the win. This is a game where they can afford to lose. And I don't think it hurts them too much, especially with, and we'll get to the rest of the West later on in this show. But everything has come so much closer that as long as they keep this game relatively close, there's a good moral win here today. And so there's not a lot of pressure, and the Elks are in a nice spot here where they could come out and make this huge statement and win. But if they lose, it's not like they're not the favorite. Like Coolbet has them right now still as 7-point underdogs. I'm surprised at how big that line is, especially when these two teams met with MBT versus Fajardo. It was a 3-point ball game, but there's no pressure on this team going into this one, which I really like for this team. I think, when they were losing all those games, they needed to just go get that win, and as games went by, it's like even more and more. Here, okay, you lose to the Owls. Okay, on to Calgary. Loss is going to happen.
Well, I will correct you in saying that there is no pressure on this team from the outside perspective, from the casual CFL fans' point of view. If Edmonton goes in and loses this game, they were supposed to lose. But inside that locker room,
yes, I knew you were going to go that way.
This is a chance to say, no. We are not the 0-7 EE of old. We are a new team. We are here. We are playing together. all of the facets of our game are now working together, and that's going to be hard to do.
Don't mind me. I didn't like our camera angle. It was coming too much directly up at us, and I needed to correct it.
Did you see up my nose?
I didn't like it. So
But that's where this is a real interesting test tonight. Yes, if they lose, well, it's not going to be the end of the world. I get it. But if they win, and
it's
if
huge.
they go up, then
that's a massive statement.
That is making a statement, and the CFL West division will have shivers running down their spine.
Yeah. And we're going to get into the whole playoff race later, but to me, this is like if I'm mapping out the Elks schedule and where they need to pick up their wins and where they're going to get their losses to see if they can make the playoffs, this is an L for me. You pick up a win today, that opens things up very nicely for the rest of the way. Like you're afforded that loss somewhere else, or that stumble somewhere else, or it puts you just in a great spot. This is like if you go get that win today, you go and beat the Montreal Alouettes, it's just gravy in my mind. It's a bonus.
But the thing is this, is that
for outside looking in,
it gives them so much more momentum.
Yes.
I mean, if you can even say that, but it carries that momentum into the biggest 2-game stretch of the season, which is Labor Day, which is next Monday, and the rematch on the following Friday.
Saturday.
If they can get this Saturday, if they can get this win, then that's going to carry. It's going to carry a lot of weight going into Calgary next week.
This is the Green and Gold Kickoff Show. Iwanyk and Jay Milne with you live at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge, where every day is a game day. Elks, Owls coming up just after 5 o'clock. You can watch it on TSN. What better way to, though, watch it on TSN than here at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge on these walls of TVs that we have behind us and getting in on their food, which is just all delicious. It's all absolutely amazing. And you do it while drinking a 6 o'clock lager. Let's get into our 3 stories of the game, which is the 2 key injuries that the Edmonton Elks do have today. Javon Leake, he's been placed on the 1 game, as you heard earlier in the injury report. He is out. Kevin Brown draws back into the lineup, and Justin Rankin, he will serve as the backup, while defensively, Luchez Purifoy, he is out. Moncrief shifts to the free safety spot. O'Neill in the a strong linebacker spot. I do quickly want to get to Babouche Stash in the Paris Jewelers inbox. The lack of running game success has nothing to do with Kevin Brown. He was never used before he got hurt. He could have had similar success as Leake, as he's a good back. The run game was abandoned or non-existent for 7 weeks, like it was the year prior as well. Then he got going last year. I think Dustin with the Y is, he's strutting it. Look at this strut he has.
Oh, wow.
That's a full strut.
That is. That's an attitude move right
nice
there.
Strut walking in. It looked like you had that. Yeah. Dustin with the Y is now here. Okay, but back to my 3 stories. I got distracted there, I should say, by that. Let's start with the running game. How do you think Kevin Brown and Rankin will potentially look here?
Well, obviously you have Javon Leake on the 1 game, so that takes away your home run hitter that we saw back in Saskatchewan. But I don't necessarily think it's Kevin Brown is starting. Justin Rankin will back him up. I think it's a matter of finding who's going tonight. Who's running the ball better? If Kevin Brown goes out and he's successful, well, then he's going to handle the bulk of the carries. But they know they have a little bit of a pounding back, a big boy in Justin Rankin that can come in and also carry the mail. So I'm not as concerned on the offensive side. I think they can still ground and pound and generate some good offense and take the pressure off Macbeth throwing the ball downfield all game long, which, as we know, leads to a rested defense that can take a breather on the sideline. I think the Luchez Purifoy injury is big. I think Derek Moncrief, who's now your starting safety, is a bit of a liability back there as opposed to Purifoy. He's not as agile. He doesn't move around as well. So that's something that we can look at tonight to see if Montreal tries and capitalizing on that and taking some deep shots up the middle third to stretch Moncrief. So that's more of the concern than the offensive side for me in the injury category. But we'll see how the game progresses.
Yeah, defensively, he's the leader on that defense.
Yeah,
big
emotional
deal out
leader,
there.
for sure.
You look at what they've done defensively the last 3 games. Saskatchewan, just under 400 yards of offense given up, 31 points allowed. Now, they did allow a touchdown in the last play of the game, so to me, you could take 7 points off of that. So really, 24 points allowed and 1 turnover. Against BC, 271 yards allowed, only 16 points, had 2 turnovers. Last week, not a good yards-wise, 521 yards allowed. But here's the thing. They gave up 22 points, and they had 4 turnovers. That was a bend-don't-break that we saw last week. But this defense has been playing a lot better. They have found a way to make turnovers. They have found a way to just as I said with the question, they've made plays at the critical moments. While they maybe allow a team to drive a little bit, they stop them when they need to. When there's that moment they need to get off the field or just force a field goal, they get that done. And they've been doing that. So now, are they going to slip a little bit because Lucius isn't there? Now, the thing is, Moncrief is a great veteran. He's been around. Having him in that free safety, I'm not concerned there. It's O'Neill in the strong linebacker spot because that's middle linebacker, strong linebacker. Those are the two big ones of the three, are they not?
Yeah, absolutely. And the strong linebacker is going to be pressed into coverage a lot more than your will linebacker or your weak side linebacker. So, yes, O'Neill has been a bit of a liability in the run game throughout the season. So
on defense.
Just
so people.
But that is what it is. And the rest of the team needs to rally. That front four needs to get pressure on Cody Fajardo. But if you look at the running game, this is why I'm not as concerned. I mean, in the last 3 games, the Double E have rushed for 598 yards and 8 touchdowns. They currently sit 3rd in the CFL in rushing. Who would have thought that halfway through that 0-7 stretch, right? And Baboosh Stash, I don't know how to say it, but you're right. They had abandoned the run game. So how can you expect to have results from Kevin Brown when he's not given the ball? It's a great point. But Rankin, in his first 3 CFL games, he has averaged 7.2 yards per carry, 6 runs of 10-plus yards, and 2 runs of 40-plus yards. So I'm not that worried about Javon Leak being out. I'm more worried about that defense and how they're going to hold it together without Lucius Purifoy is a great safety, but he's a leader in that huddle. He's a leader on the sideline. He's an emotional leader with his hits on the field, everything. That's the difference that I don't know if they can make up for. But you're right in saying Moncrief, he is a veteran guy. This isn't his first kick at the can, so that's definitely going to be a story to watch is how this defense holds up.
I look at when it comes to Leak and Rankin, now the switch to KB and Rankin, I guess where I'm going to have the concern is KB and Rankin a little too similar?
Absolutely.
As opposed to Leak and Rankin were
yin and yang,
opposite.
Man. Yeah.
You know, Leak was the very much, he had that burst of speed. He could go more to the outside, whereas Rankin's more a little bit straight up the middle. KB's more that guy that's straight up the middle. So with that 1-2 punch that you had over the last few weeks with Leak and Rankin, defenses had to be careful which way to go. Now, I don't know how many plays, like, how often were the two of them on the field at the exact same time, though?
Rankin and Leak?
Yeah.
Very rarely.
Right, and so then at the very least with that, well, the defense knows which way they're going to run. So that takes away a little bit of that. Like, it's not like Rankin and Leak are there and they're like, oh, well, who's going to get the ball? Because Leak's going to go to the outside, Rankin's going to go to the middle. One was out there, they knew it was going to maybe happen if they got the ball, and they still couldn't stop them. So maybe that gives me the thing, but that's where I look at Leak and KB and go, different running backs. Is KB a little too close to Rankin so that they now know they just have to focus on covering the middle, and they've got that run game stopped a little bit. So that would be where I have the concern with the running game. But they better just make sure they hand the football off, and then continue that. Yeah. And they didn't do that with KB was there. They did it with Javon Leak and Rankin. Are they going to continue with that with KB back? It
starts with committing to the run game, and you're right. That's a great point. It's much easier for the Alouettes defense to game plan for 2 runners that are more smash and bash up the middle kind of style runners as opposed to Javon Leak, who he hits a crease, he could go. So yes, that is a good point. However, I think if they just commit to it, it's going to wear that defense down, and they're going to start churning, and it's going to be something where in the 3rd, 4th quarter that running game really shines.
Well, and there's no reason not to, because they've done it for a game and a half without Trey Ford, and it's been successful.
Yes.
So you can do it with MBT as your quarterback. You could do it with that offensive line without the threat of that running quarterback. So make sure that you commit to that. In the nasty chat, JJ Go Elks from Thunder Bay with a thumbs up and a green and gold heart emoji. Well, thanks for listening from Thunder Bay, JJ. And then Phyllis checking in from the center of WST country. Hey, EST folks, go Elks. Well, thanks for that, Phyllis. Thanks for joining in. And I do want to throw this one out there as we're on that rush to 10,000 likes on YouTube. Subscribers, sorry, thank you. We want 10,000 subscribers. We're 160 away. And we need to do it in a week. We need to get 160 in a week so that by the time year 2 starts on the Tuesday after Labor Day of EST, we can say we did 10,000 in 1 year. So please, if you don't subscribe to Edmonton Sports Talk, please click that subscription button on YouTube. If you do, and your spouse or your partner or your kids or your grandparents have a YouTube account and they don't subscribe, just grab it and quickly subscribe to us.
Yeah.
We want to get to that 10,000. And I'll say this, if we could get like 5 by the end of tonight.
5?
I'm just going to go 5.
Those are rookie numbers, man.
Okay, if we can get 10.
Let's get 10.
Let's get 10. If we can get 10 by the end of the post-game show tonight. So just let's get up there. Click that subscribe. If you haven't done it, click that subscribe. On the morning show, me, Gager, and Trev, we asked for 15 or 16 of them. We got it.
Sure.
We got that little increase that we're looking for.
You shall receive, Matthew.
We want 10 between now and the post-game show. So if you don't subscribe, please click that subscribe.
And if you do subscribe, and you've subscribed your mother-in-law, your father-in-law, your children, your wife, everybody, smash that thumbs up, because that does help us get in front of a different audience as well. But yes, subscribe. We are close. We'd like to get there. We're close. We're within striking distance.
To JJ and Phyllis, they both. JJ subscribed last fall. Phyllis, I'm subscribed for the record. Happy to help where I can. And I wasn't. It took me into a transition to talk about that. But thank you for that early subscription. We really appreciate it. VR Montenegro feeling good after the safety meeting. The Double E are green. Let's go. Let's get to our second story of this game for the Elks and Owls. We're coming up just after 5 o'clock out in Montreal. And we're going to look at the Montreal Alouettes here because they get two. We talked about the Elks losing 2 players. Well, the Owls gain 2 players. Cody Fajardo back in the lineup after being out for a few weeks with an injury. They also get a star receiver back in Austin Mack. Last year, Austin Mack had 1,154 yards of receiving. He had 4 touchdowns. He averaged nearly 15 yards per catch. That led him to getting a contract with the Atlanta Falcons. He was there throughout camp. They cut him 2 weeks ago, I think it was. They signed him this past week. He is now there. He is in the lineup. He is going to play. So they get Cody Fajardo back. They get one of his weapons back in Austin Mack. The number 1 team in the Canadian Football League just got better. That's not a good thing if you're looking to try to beat them.
Yeah, but my concern here is that both of these are back into the lineup for the first time this year, which means there hasn't been a lot of practice time.
Cody's been in the together, you're saying?
Together. Okay. Now, I know that Mac is, he's a stud. And, a lot of he ranks number 5 in CFL history in all-time rookie receptions with 78. That's pretty special. Now, of those 78, 24 of them were what were considered clutch second down conversions. So he is making big plays at big times. My question for tonight's game is, has there been enough time for them to reestablish that connection? And especially with Cody Fajardo. I mean, now the Bullets are live. This is not practice. This is not going against your practice defense. This is going up against one of the top 4s or front 4s in the CFL. So my question is there going to be rust? Is there going to be rust from Fajardo? Is there going to be rust from Mac in that connection? I'm erring on the side of yes, there will be, which could help the Double E get to Fajardo, disrupt him, get him off, out of his comfort zone early in the game, and I think that could be very beneficial.
That's fair. I think the fact that he doesn't have Tyson Philbot, Cody Fajardo, he might rely a little more on Austin Mack. I think maybe it would take him a little while to get Austin Mack going if Philpott was there, because he'd rely a little bit on Philpott. But with him still injured, I think maybe he's going to look to Austin Mack. And I don't think there's going to be as much rust from Austin Mack. This isn't the Nathan Rourke situation where he hasn't really played in a year and a half coming here. Austin Mack just played last year.
Yeah.
He's only missed a part of a season here. I don't think him getting into this lineup is going to be that big of a deal. And with Cody Fajardo, he's 3rd in the Canadian Football League when it comes to touchdown drives. Percent of drives that have been led to a touchdown. In 69 drives, he's had 11 touchdown drives. That's 3rd, as I said, in the Canadian Football League. Do you care to guess who are 1 and 2?
In touchdown drives?
Percent of drives that have been led to touchdowns.
Trey Ford
is 1. It's ridiculous, still 40-some%.
Bo Levi?
No, it's Davis Alexander.
It's
the other. It's the guy that was replacing Cody Fajardo. The Montreal Alouettes. This offense doesn't miss a beat, whichever quarterback's in there. It seems. Davis Alexander came in. He didn't miss a beat. He kept them winning some football games. That's where I'm worried about Cody Fajardo. This team has been rolling since the playoffs just before the playoffs last year. This was a team in 2023. There was the 3 teams at the top. It was Toronto, it was Winnipeg, it was BC. There was everyone else, and in the middle was Montreal. They weren't good enough to be in the top 3. They weren't bad enough to be in that bottom. And then they got into the playoffs, and they've rolled ever since.
Yep.
And they keep doing it this year. That Cody Fajardo is one of those guys where I don't think there's a lot of rust that needs to come back. It's not like he's been gone for a lot of time. So this is going to not have Lucius Purifoy. I think this is where it's, okay, is this defense ready to go up against the best team in the Canadian Football League, who get their star quarterback back, who gets a star receiver back as well. And, oh, yeah, by the way, the last time these two teams met, offensively, Walter Fletcher ran for 82 yards and a touchdown. He also caught the ball for 61 yards.
Yeah.
They got torched by this running back that's there. So this is going to be a little bit of a test in itself for this Edmonton defense that has stepped up. They did it against BC. I'm credit against that. That's a good BC team. Now, since, in that stretch, BC's offense hasn't been great with VA or without, they only had Jake Dolagala in the lineup.
Yes.
Statement game for the team overall, but this is a statement game, I think, for the defense as well, is can they limit and contain this Als offense? But it's hard to bet against the
I'm
best
not
team in the
saying
Canadian
that there
Football League
will
right now.
for sure
No,
be rust with Cody Fajardo, but if there's any opportunity for there to be rust and for there to be some hiccups in that offense, it is tonight. And don't forget, this is an overarching thing. Edmonton has had their number for the last recent history.
Montreal's?
6 of 7 wins by Edmonton in Montreal.
Oh, in Montreal.
In the last 7 games. So
yeah, they weren't out in Montreal last year.
Keep that in mind. They play well there.
Oh, they used to not.
Motivated. It's like, hey, boys, if you win, we're going to stay overnight and you can go out in Montreal.
I remember those early 2000s. It was always tough going out to Montreal.
Tough place to play.
It was always a tough place to play.
Percival Molson Stadium.
But beautiful.
Home of the McGill.
In the mountains.
Are they the Redmen still? No.
I don't think they're the Redmonds anymore, are they?
No, I don't think so. I think that got canceled.
McGill University Athletics. They are the Redbird and the Martlets.
Yeah.
So there you go. I do enjoy still, like, with the Canadian Football League and stuff, the fact that there are the universities. Like, it's McGill at center field. You see University of Calgary. I do like that because it's their stadiums and all that.
And Regina. No, not Regina.
Regina used to. I don't know if they still do.
Yeah, Manitoba still plays out of...
But I don't think their logo's there anymore.
Manitoba's is.
Is it?
Right, Regina's is too. 100%.
Are you sure?
Yeah, man.
That's how close I was paying attention last game. No, it's just Winnipeg, I think. Come on, load. Yeah, that's just...
Yeah, University
Oh, they got one of them.
Yeah,
they got the other side.
That's what you're going to get. That's the best you're going to get.
Look at McGill. Watch McGill tonight.
Well, I know. But
I don't think there's any.
Quebec, man.
I don't think there's anything.
Quebec,
I don't think the Owls get anything in this.
There's some things you just can't explain, and what happens in Quebec is one of them, okay?
I don't know how this... Well, I know how it started because I threw out a couple of things here, but we got people telling us where they are. Steve, go Elks from Victoria.
Yes.
So we've hit Thunder Bay, WST Country, Victoria. Kelvin, welcome. He says go Elks from Ascot Beach. Deacon saying go Elks from Calgary. Fun size Andrea, hi from Century, which I really enjoy.
She's right there.
Shotgun Sports Network, biggest game on the Elks brand. MBT playing with confidence any given Sunday. Go Elks. We're up from Section X. Let's get to our third story of this game, and that is the playoff race that we are looking at for the Edmonton Elks. This is a huge game. This is a massive game, but where I go, it's not as, like, the loss can be there. If the Elks lose today, they sit 5 points back of first place. They hold the tiebreaker against Saskatchewan. It's not as big there. They're only 4 points back of second place. They hold the tiebreaker over the BC line. So they're right there. They're in the mix no matter what, to me, after today. But here's where things change if they get the victory today. Only 3 points back of third place going into Labor Day. We always say the CFL doesn't begin until Labor Day, and the Edmonton Elks might be within shooting distance of first in the West with the win today. Only 3 points back if they could find a way to upset the Montreal Alouettes out in Montreal. This race has just completely tightened up. Now, part of that is the Elks have won 3 straight. The other part of that is Saskatchewan and BC don't want to take control of this division.
Yeah.
Saskatchewan can't win a football game, and the BC Lions have lost 5 straight football games, and I think there's going to be a serious question if VA gets healthy, whether Nathan Rourke will get that start or if VA should get that start, at least for right now, because they need to go get some victories. They are sitting third in the CFL West right now.
Talk about rust. Jeez, Nathan Rourke. We didn't get a chance to talk about that, but that was terrible.
Well,
that was awful. And I'm not surprised.
Is that rust, or is that
The dude's been playing at
decision-making.
training camps for the last
That's
3
right.
months. He's not rusty. It's just not
There's bad decisions being made.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He's making very poor decisions with his throws.
But just a friendly reminder that the CFL is a really good league. Now,
Yes.
scoreboard watching, the Elks got some help this week.
It was almost the perfect weekend.
Almost the perfect
If only
weekend.
Hamilton could have held on. Sorry, Phyllis.
So Saskatchewan lost to Toronto in the Rouge game that went a little bit viral.
Okay,
that
we
was
have to
kind of
talk
interesting.
about that after, too.
And then BC lost to Ottawa as well. Winnipeg squeaked out a win against Hamilton. They did not look great in that game. I don't know what is going on in Winnipeg, but Zach Collaros is not the same Zach Collaros. They squeaked out a game against Winnipeg or against Hamilton.
He's old. And he doesn't he doesn't have an O-line protect him like he's had before. In that game, I think they lost 2 offensive linemen.
True enough. That's a great point. But scoreboard-wise,
it's perfect.
Edmonton got a lot of help this weekend. So if they can cap it off with a victory here, that really tightens things up. Because then they'd be tied with the Stamps, essentially. Not tied, but they'd have the same amount of wins.
They'd have the same amount of points, but Calgary has a game in hand.
Yep.
They would only be 2 points back of Winnipeg. They'd be 2 points back of BC. As I said, they don't have the tiebreaker against BC. That's the key there. They don't have to beat BC. They just have to tie BC, and BC drops even further. They lost the season series to Winnipeg. That's why they sit third right now, and Winnipeg goes ahead of them. But where I look at this and go, like, this is where the team's in a good spot no matter what. Because if you lose this, like,
Stop with this losing thing. Nobody wants to hear a take about them losing.
But it's a possible outcome.
Of course,
it's a possible outcome.
Mr.
And based on the odds, it does say that they were going to lose this football game. But the thing is, because of what's happened everywhere else, we knew September's the month for this team. They got Winnipeg twice, they got Calgary twice, then Winnipeg twice. That's where they have to go get the wins. They can't afford any losses. If they win today but lose a bunch of games, 3 games in September, they're out. Today doesn't fully matter to me as the playoff race. It's the Calgarys and the Winnipegs that are going to come up in the next 4. This keeps that momentum going. This gets you still feeling good moving forward. But the wild thing is we're going into Labor Day saying no matter what, as Labor Day Monday comes, we have a playoff race in the West that the Elks are involved with. That they're in 5th place. Could still 100%. They're in control of their own destiny right now. Mm-hmm. They go win 3 of 4 in September, I think, and then take 3 of 4 in October. They're a playoff team.
Yeah,
it's there. Now, can they go do that?
And that's where I say this. That's why this game is pivotal, is important, is to keep that ball moving. And there's no reason to think that they can't keep the momentum. They could have beat Montreal in early in the year. They could have. This is not a bad team. They're just finally figuring out how to put it together, which is to run the ball and play half, mediocre defense, mediocre offense with a good run game. Guess what? That gets you wins. So I'm not. I looked at the money line for this. I put a bet on it because it's out of skew. I think this game is going to be a lot closer. Could go either way, but I don't think this is going to be a double-digit win by either team. I think it's going to be a close game. And as the CFL has proven this year, there is more games going to tight finishes than ever before in league history. So I think we're in for a decent one. We'll get to the key to the
key to an Elks victory
later,
and Jay's prediction. Yeah. We'll get to that as well. What did you make of the Rouge ending?
It is what it is. I mean, it's hilarious that
Lirim Hajrulahu,
what he said, celebrated and put his hand in the air like he just kicked the game-winning football.
But he did his job.
No, I know, but you didn't do your job.
But
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't. His job is to kick the field goal, Matt.
No.
That is a loser thing to do. To put your hand up after you kick it through the end zone for a Rouge. I get it. You get a point. That is a sad way to go out. You are a loser because you didn't make the field goal. You stink. You shouldn't be putting your hand up. I get it. You got to win.
He did his job.
Put your damn hand down. No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. Okay, because I guarantee
his job is to kick a field goal.
I guarantee you, his special teams coach said him beforehand.
Sure.
Make sure you put enough power to get that through the end zone just in case you miss.
It was a 30-yard kick.
Right.
Who's not going to get it through the end zone?
It was a 40. Here's the thing, though.
Don't put your hand up and wave it like you're some,
Here's the thing about Lirim. He went out there and he had 2 things he had to do. One, he had to accomplish one of 2 things. Either make the field goal or make sure that ball goes to the end zone to win the football game.
Yeah.
He accomplished one of his 2 jobs. He only needs to accomplish one of them. And he did one of them. His goal was to get a point. He didn't go out there thinking about accuracy. He went out. Actually, the only accuracy he was thinking about was just make sure I don't hit the post.
Which he was damn close to.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you think he did that on purpose, or is he just a terrible kicker?
High.
This is a kicker doing stupid kicker things. Do your damn job.
He did.
No.
His job was to get...
I get it. But don't put your hand up.
They won the football game.
Keep your hand in your pocket.
They won the football game.
As a loser.
So? It's
no. Don't do that.
They were not losers. They got the dub.
What did you just say?
It's a dub. See, it's a W. They got the dub.
Okay, then do your job, but don't celebrate it and put your hand up like you're God's gift at kicking. You stink. You missed the kick.
But he made the kick.
Then keep your hand in your pocket.
He also made the kick.
Act like you've been there before. Be thankful that the CFL has this odd rule. That I'm not disagreeing with the Rouge. I think it's a part of CFL.
Right,
don't get me wrong.
But that's why he goes out there thinking differently. If you don't have the Rouge, he's thinking about the field goal. And
guess what, man? Then kick it way left or way right. That's how you do it if you're just going for the single. He tried to kick that. He almost missed it so bad he hit the post. That's how bad he was. I hate it. I hate putting your hand up. I get the Rouge. I don't hate the Rouge. I hate the reaction. Act like you've been there before. Act like you've kicked or missed the game winner that went through the end zone for a Rouge. Jeez, despicable. That's what's despicable. Not the way
his job.
No, he didn't.
Absolutely.
That's a loser attitude.
No, the coach probably told him that make sure that ball gets through the end zone, even if you miss. Make sure that ball gets through the end zone. He did what his coach wanted him to do. Get that point. And he got the point. It doesn't matter how much they won by. They won. They got the victory. They got the dub. They got the 2 points. Celebrate all you want.
I don't even want to talk about it anymore. I
love it.
That just ticks me off so much because it's just such a loser mentality that you share with Liram, the kicker from Toronto. Losers.
If we were doing a post-game show and the Elks won that way to end their 7-game losing streak, we'd all sit there.
And Beatty had his hand in the air.
We'd all sit there.
I would demolish him.
No.
I would demolish him.
We would have all sat there and you can't critique a win.
No.
Can't critique a win.
I would say put your hand down. You missed the kick. You don't deserve it. I get it. You won it. Celebrate it with your team in the locker room. Don't go out there putting your hand up like you're no.
He won.
I would demolish.
Todd Johnson, he is listening from Winnipeg as well. So thanks for tuning in, saying has been great. EST has been great to listen to all summer. Thanks for tuning in. By the way, our goal for 10 subscribers, it's down to 8. We've gained 2 subscribers. Come on, 8 more. 8 more. At the very least, could we get 3 and then split this up between post-game? In other words, we got a little bit more work to do in the post-game show. This is the Green and Gold Kickoff Show. Iwanyk and Jay Milne, live from Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge on Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton sports. Momentarily, we are going to hear from Jarius Jackson, the interim head coach of the Edmonton Elks. We'll get to our keys to an Elks victory, as well as Jay's prediction. I want to go back to the question of the night. What has been the biggest reason for the Elks turnaround? Once again, not the only reason. There's many. Leading the way still is Trey Ford sparking the team. Emergence of the run game is second. Getting the first win is third. And D making critical plays is fourth. Let's get to our cool bet prop of the game. Your prop of today's game?
I'm torn between 2, but I'm going to go with my original. And that was because Macbeth is back, because he has a history with Curly Gittins Jr. I'm going to go Curly Gittins Jr. over 47.5 yards. That is now at minus 110 on CoolBet. I also don't mind Moneyline for the double E. Plus 285. I think there's it is bold. I'm a bold guy. And you're right, Scalding Gourd. I do boo kids when they get their participation trophies. I don't like participation trophies. There should be a first, a second, and a third. And that's it. If you didn't do good enough to get in the top 3, you don't deserve an award. There.
And I stand by this. Don't blame the kids for getting the participation trophies.
No, it's all the adults that screwed things up.
At 12-6, they'd be like, yeah, you're from the participation trophy generation. It's your fault. You're soft and stuff. Well, I'm not the one that gave me the trophy.
No.
Also, I wasn't part of that. I was just before that and all that. But
what's going to teach a kid to get better? And hey, you want to be the person that got the first place ribbon?
It's not getting better. It's just so that they don't cry.
Who cares?
You got to learn those mistakes.
Yeah, you got to learn to lose.
But that's where
you're going to lose in life.
It's the generation that gave those away that was too scared to have to deal with those consequences. Don't blame my generation for that. I'm just going to go out there as well on that one. Multiple rants today here on the Kickoff Show, even though they're going for 4 straight. My prop of the game. This is what would be called a sprinkle. You sprinkle this one. It's not. It's a little bit bold one.
Okay.
Hergy Mayala anytime touchdown. The guys had 4 touchdowns this year.
Nice.
They all came earlier against Saskatchewan, against Toronto, against Ottawa. Why though? But MBT had a nice connection with him, especially when they got to the end zone. So I wouldn't, if the Elks get close to the end zone, I think we're going to see Hergy Mayala get a little bit of the looks from MBT as that we've seen when this team was doing okay, when MBT was doing okay earlier in the season, even though they're picking up those losses. So plus 225, I like that.
That's a nice prop. That's a fair prop. That prop that's where a nice prop comes in, is that plus 200 and above range, right?
And again, that's a little sprinkle. That's what they call a sprinkle.
Do you have to say it like that?
I do. For sprinkles, I have to do that one. Also, when I just do oil stream biscuits, I have to say biscuits like that. I just can't even just say biscuits. I have to go biscuits. And there was a strawberry biscuits at Popeyes, and Tom was very curious why I kept going biscuits.
I like it. I
just want to keep doing that.
You have my approval.
We will get to Jerry's Jackson momentarily right here. I just want to quickly check here. Oh, my God. We just went up 4 more.
Really?
We're only 4 away from our goal of getting 10 by the end of the postgame.
Oh.
Thank you to those 4 people. Well, thank you to the 6 people that subscribed.
This is big.
With that, this was Jerry's Jackson speaking to the media earlier this week in advance of the Elks taking on the Alouettes.
Kevin Brown, you've seen what has happened the last 3 games.
Right.
I'm sure he's like the horse in the stable that's keeping the gate open.
Yeah, he's licking his chops right now, right? That's the first time I've seen him in a while be kind of speedy and kind of explosive in walk through, right? So, that was good to see, but that's what happens when you get a fire lit under your butt a little bit from watching other guys do what you could have been in there doing.
Justin Rankin, speaking of the ground game, just talk about the impact he's made, and what do you think's enabled him to have the success he has the last 3 games?
I think the kid's just being him. He loves football to death. He wants to contribute in any way, form, or fashion that he can, and he's always studying his plays. And I don't know if you've seen him up in person, up close, but big traps, right? You got some major traps on him. So when he lowers his head and drops some shoulders, he's pushing forward all the time.
Success usually isn't one thing, but what are some keys for you guys that have enabled you to average 40 points a game in the last 3 games?
Well, I think just trying to impose our will on people. Having a plan, sticking to it. Not really deviating from it, and we haven't had really a reason to do that so far. So, if we can impose our will and make other teams deviate from their plans, then that helps us in order to win games.
How much of a positive is it, a 3-game win streak? Both your quarterbacks played about a game and a half.
It's a big positive, especially when Mac was in there and we hadn't won yet, and then Trey got in there, we won a couple, and then we were able to come back and get this one with Mac being in there. So I'm sure that was a vote of confidence for him, and I'm treating both those guys the same. I'm not looking at one as differently than the other as far as the game planning goes, right? So just leaning on the team and just letting the quarterback position be what it may.
Talk about how big a test it is in Montreal.
When you got a team that's won, 17 out of the last 18 games, they just find a way to win. Hats off to them. Kudos to them. We're trying to find a way to be like them. We're going to respect our opponent and our preparation, but, we're not going to fear anyone. And our mentality is we're going to go over there and try to win this game.
Cody Fajardo's going to start. Good to know that on day one.
Yeah, we'll take it. Shav and those Klund and all the guys on defense, they do a great job of preparing for whoever's in there. Same thing last week with dealing with whether it was going to be Powell or Bo. So those guys, they've scouted those guys pretty well, and they know what to expect from either guy being in there under center.
Have you noticed a difference in the mood kind of around the team here the last 3 weeks of picking up some wins?
You know what? Like the drive has always been there. The camaraderie's always been there. But it's good to see guys smiling and joking and laughing and being happy. But at the same time, they know when we come to work and we have to focus, the focus has to be there as well. Like I'm the first guy that'll tell them I love to joke and have fun, but doing our job comes first and foremost.
You've seen your turnover ratio in the past couple of years, middle at the bottom. You're third now,
right.
+5.
Wow. Okay.
What does that mean? I think you forced the most turnovers, and you've given, I think, your second least given up the ball in the league. So playing clean football and forcing turnovers.
That's what it's all about. Like if we can get that turnover differential or ratio to a plus sign, that's big for us. And I know we were able to get a few last week. I think maybe a couple weeks ago, maybe when we played Hamilton, we may have had one in the red zone. I want to say, the biggest thing for me is when we get to the red zone is being able to put the ball in there. And the defense did a great job last week of giving us some short fields, and hopefully we can duplicate that this week.
You kicked out of Commonwealth for a couple of weeks, I think, because of the concerts. Are you a Metallica fan?
I've heard some of their music. It's been a long time. I think Pink's supposed to be here as well too, but it's all type of distractions. Last week it was the New Honor. The week before that it was something else, and hopefully this is getting us ready for something big farther down the road. So we'll just keep dealing with the distractions and making us focus and hone in even that much more, and trying to continue to go win football games.
So if you had to go to one, Metallica or Pink, what would you choose?
I plead the fifth.
Can't do that again.
Yeah, I can't do that. I plead the fifth.
Metallica or Pink?
He was going to say Pink.
I think he was going, he doesn't care for either. I think he didn't want to say neither.
No, if he said Pink, it would have been like, huh?
No, I don't think so.
Like the easy answer there is to say Metallica.
Because we had, they had MBT, KB, and Rankin, and I think they were asked, and one of them picked Pink, I think, or something.
Yeah.
To see because she like flies around and stuff like that.
Speaking of Metallica.
Well, for you, Metallica or Pink?
Well, Metallica. Hands down. Although we watched the Pink documentary, and I learned a lot more about her and her life and who she is, as well as you can see from a documentary on Netflix. But no, I've got a lot of respect for Pink for sure. But I love Metallica. I just like Metallica. Metallica is probably one of my top 5 favorite bands of all time.
I have to drive by Commonwealth on the way home, or that's my direction, and I'm very excited because I
roll your windows down.
Well, I want to hear how loud. Like apparently on Friday, it was loud and rattling, and it went like people are saying like Londonderry, they could feel it a little bit, like that bass, because it's that heavy metal stuff. So I'm very intrigued by this. It's been 2 years since the tickets went on sale for this one.
Crazy, eh?
I know. And then Pink's here next week. But I will say this.
What about you?
Metallica. But I would kind of want to see Pink. I wouldn't be opposed to it. Here's the thing, because I've seen the tweets, when Commonwealth ever gets busy, people always be like, it's not big enough, the concession's too small and stuff.
It was nasty on Twitter there.
But this is the thing, and this is why, there was Andrew Knack, a counselor, that said they are thinking about that.
That was a great. Oh yeah, you're gonna say what your suggestion was?
No, I'll get to that after.
Okay.
I guess. No, the thing is, this is why though Edmonton needs a big facility. People go like, if they build a new facility, like you get 25. No, Edmonton needs a minimum 40. Because these shows come here, and there's a reason. I was reading somebody who said
Metallica's not coming here with a 40.
Well, somebody said that they actually were looking at Regina, but they wanted to do 2 dates in Edmonton instead because they could sell more tickets.
Yeah.
These concerts look at Edmonton and when we have their outdoors
65,
and they go.
How many total with the floor and everything?
I think with it's about 58.
No, it's got to be over 60.
Well, actually, Metallica would be more.
Yeah.
Before, when I've gone to AC/DC and they do it at the one end of the stage.
Yes.
And so you eliminate
Metallica's
seats. But Metallica's right in the middle. So that might be over 60.
Yeah.
If we do something, though, I would like a retractable roof for this. But I said it for the Heritage Classic, and I'll say it for this one, is what they need to do with Commonwealth on these big events. If Edmonton ever sells for an Elks game, 60,000 or something, build gates further outside and make the entry point further outside, and then allow free movement between
more common area.
Yeah, allow more free movement between what is the current gates. So if you have to get to if you're on Southwest and you want to get to Northwest, instead of walking through the concourse, you can just quickly walk outside and go around that way because the gates are moved further apart. If they're ever going to renovate Commonwealth, that'd be the thing I would add, is just gates further out. So the point of entry, you get past that, then there's a walkway to actually get to the stadium, and it might alleviate some of that.
Yeah, Dan Grummett was the one that brought that up, right? And I thought your response was just, wow, Matt, that was...
I've been saying that one for a while. That one's...
wow,
every so often, this brain comes with a smart idea.
That was great.
Every so often. But yeah, I like when we have these outdoor shows. That's where it will never happen because it's going to cost way too much, but I would love a retractable roof stadium because it'd be great in like January, February to have that concert roll through town because I do love arena shows. But yeah, I'm excited to go home after to listen.
Sure.
To a little bit
you
of
might even be able to hear it from your palatial palace on the 25th floor.
Yeah, I'll be home in time.
Did you hear it on Friday?
I didn't bother checking. This is the Green and Gold Kickoff Show. Iwanyk and Jay Milne coming up in just 10 minutes time, 12 minutes time. It will be the Elks take out on the Owls. You can watch it on TSN, or you can come down to Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge, where every day is game day. Cheese and jalapeno smoky with waffle fries is the game day special, including the 6 o'clocker lager on special, game day draft. The daily special for today is they're all fantastic. Today is the surf and turf for $11.99, and anything on the menu is just fantastic. fantastic. So come join us. We got Dustin with Hawaii. We got Andrew and Jason are here. Come join us here at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. And quickly, just want to make sure I'm not missing anything in the nasty chat. Little salt in the wound for Calgary to miss out again, not hosting some of these big acts. Yeah, I know some people from Calgary that were making the trek up. Suck it, Calgary. No offense. You get your arena. You get your arena, so you get some of those acts. I'm cool with that. Don't get a big enough stadium to take away these acts from Edmonton, though. I'll just say that part. I'll be a little selfish on that.
Calgary gets the 6th place, the participation award.
Your key to an Elks victory?
It's Macbeth in that offense. If they follow a game plan that has a heavy dose of running, even if it's not working early, don't go away. But then it also has to be complemented by Macbeth playing an above-average game. Not great. If he does, hey, awesome. Control the ball, take care of the ball, don't make unnecessary, costly turnovers. This team has been doing really good as of late in the turnover battle. They're currently 5th in the CFL, +5. When they were in the doldrums of that 0 and whatever run, they were -3, -2, and now they've got it all the way back up to +5. If they can keep that train, that momentum of taking the ball away more than they give it away, then I think this could be a really tightly contested game, and the Double E, by all accounts, could and should pull it out if the offense can take care of the ball and Macbeth can play a above-average game.
Well, they're going to need touchdowns from this offense.
Sure.
They're going to. Montreal,
They've got a lot of weapons. Red zone.
They've got a lot of weapons receiver-wise. They have Walter Fletcher and the running back that can beat them, and they're getting Cody Fajardo back. This isn't an Al's team that I think you're going to be able to contain. That maybe my key to an Elks victory maybe is going to be to just something, if you think there's going to be rest for Cody Fajardo, you need to get off to a nice lead. You need to have that lead going into halftime. Make it a nice 7-point lead or something. Have something to play off of. Because Fajardo, it's not going to be rust for a whole game. He's going to figure it out at some point. It hasn't been that long. So maybe you could take advantage of that earlier. The other thing I will add, actually, maybe if I go into something, play well third quarter. This team struggles in the third quarter. The last few weeks, as they've been doing well, it's the third quarter that they're not there. They're not playing well.
Yep.
You got to show up in the third quarter. If you show up in the third quarter and you make it more of that 4-quarter game, they'll have a shot at winning this football game.
Do you know Edmonton sits first in the CFL in points, touchdowns, and red zone touchdowns?
I did not actually know all.
They have the capability of scoring touchdowns. Go out and do it. Don't turn the ball over. Commit to that run game, that smash and bash run game with Kevin Brown and Justin Rankin, and I have a good feeling that things will turn out well.
My $3 turned into $7.75. Just an update. Quickly did that, Jarius. Just the machines are literally right there, so I was able to grab it. Your prediction?
Double E 32, Montreal 31.
Ooh.
It's going to be a tight one.
Boris Beatty misses a game-winning field goal kick, and he gets the rouge, and he celebrates. And Jay comes on the post-game show and goes, Beatty celebrating because they won 4 in a row. Yes.
I had to get the rouge back into the topic here because how can't you?
Thanks for tuning in to the Green and Gold Kickoff Show. Coming up, it is the game. You can watch it on TSN, but more importantly, come down to Century Casino. Lots of time to still get here and watch the game with us. And then once the game is over, we do have the Green and Gold post-game show live right here at Edmonton Sports Talk, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, tune in, iHeartRadio, as well as on YouTube. On behalf of Jay, I'm Matt. Thanks for tuning in to the Kickoff Show. Enjoy the football game. We'll talk to you once it's over.